Hello YouTube, I'm Wes. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Vinyl Survivor. This is where I talk about recently listened to albums that were pulled in from my vast inbox, and this is kind of the final reckoning before they either end up in my permanent collection or whether I decide they just weren't for me, weren't something I want to keep for whatever reason that is. This is where I sort of tell you what I thought, why they're staying or why they're going, kind of thing. So let's go ahead and get into this. Once again, just a quick round. I'm trying to get caught up on these. I've been listening to a lot recently and not making a lot of videos recently, so got a pretty huge backlog of these. So let's go ahead and get into it. First one we got here is a jazz album. This is a Felonious Monk with Monk's Blues. Not sure of the year on this one. On Columbia Records. This is Felonious Monk playing with a big band, and I am just not a fan of big band jazz, so I just couldn't get into this. I struggled with it. His piano playing is excellent, but as far as something I would play again, something I would, go to if I want to hear a jazz album, I'm not going to go to anything big band. So for that reason, this one is not going to be staying in my collection. This is on Columbia Red and Orange label. So yeah, the first one up, Felonious Monk, Monk's Blues. I enjoyed listening to it, but it just wasn't for me. As I said, I'm not a fan of big band jazz whatsoever, and it was nice to hear, but I'm not going to be. I don't see myself ever wanting to play this again. So this is this is a nice copy. It's probably going to end up in my Discogs store. All right, next up, I'm moving on to I guess what you could call. It's a progressive group, but it's later progressive period. It's 80s progressive music, actually from 79, but this is the group True Myth. I believe they're a Canadian group. I think this is the only album they ever released, and I think it also has the notoriety of being the first Canadian album ever digitally recorded. I do remember that being a thing about this, but yeah, very sort of keyboard heavy, very tight production moving into, it sounds almost like an 80s prog album, even though it's 79, so it's getting into that period. But just a nice prog album, and I definitely enjoyed it. Didn't know anything about this group going in, and they didn't really have any big hits or anything, so it wasn't like it was anything I had heard before. But I definitely I enjoyed hearing this. Is a nice prog album, so definitely one to keep an eye out for if you're into prog. So it has an insert in it, which kind of looks like an old tractor feed printer kind of thing. It even has looks like a program printed on there, and some liner notes and whatnot. And this has sort of a custom label to it. Nicely matches the album artwork. So yeah, the self-titled album from True Myth, cool prog album, and I enjoyed it, and I'm going to be keeping this in the permanent collection. All right, next thing I have to talk about is a 12-inch single from the 90s. This is, I guess it fits in the jazz category. It's kind of a scat jazz kind of thing. That's Lucas with the Lid Off. Really huge hit in the 90s. It's a 12-inch single for it. And yeah, I mean, I heard this enough in the 90s that I'm not really something I'm dying to hear again. It was fun to sort of revisit it and hear the different mixes and stuff on here. But this, yeah, it was a fun sort of nostalgia trip, but not anything I think I need to hold on to and play again. I'll stream it if I really have to. The Big Beat Records label. So yeah, that's sort of a 90s nostalgic oddity kind of thing. As I said, fun to listen to, but not something I feel I need to keep. So that one is going to be going away. It's a nice copy, so it'll probably end up in the Discogs store as well. Next up, moving back into some prog, and this one's from 1974. This is Nectar with Remember the Future. I really enjoyed this. I've enjoyed Nectar albums in the past. I didn't know anything about this one going in. This one's really good. Really good. I definitely dug this. Really cool gatefold on this one as well. That's on the Passport Records label. So yeah, Nectar, Remember the Future. I really dug this one a lot, and it's going to be staying in my collection. All right, next up is from a 2010 album by the group Amina, and this is the album titled Puzzle. Amina are the sort of the backing group for SupraWes. So it definitely has a very much a SupraWes kind of feel to it. Really cool piece. The owner of my local record store turned me on to this, said it might be something I would be interested in, and checked it out and definitely dug it. So I was glad to have been turned on to this. Nice inner sleeve there with a little bit of liner notes on it. And this is just a yeah, it's just nice, very pleasant to listen to kind of music. If you like SupraWes, you're gonna like this. That's the best thing I can say about it. Really good music, really enjoyable, really just lush and rich sounding, just like SupraWes is. So yeah, definitely enjoyed that. That one's staying in the collection. All right, next up, the first thing, I believe this is the first thing by the group Sun that has entered my collection, and that's Sun with two N's, the sludge metal, doom metal band. And this is their live performance called Domkirk that they did in a church in Bergen Cathedral. There's the back cover on this one. Nice gatefold, shows them performing in the church. So yeah, I do enjoy some doom metal, sludge metal kind of stuff from time to time, and this was a fun listen and something I picked up cheap, and I'm glad to have it, and I'll be staying in my collection. All right, next up we got a bit of modern psych here. This is Morgan Delt with their album Phase Zero. This is pretty recent, 2016, 2015, 2016. Yeah, modern psychedelic, very washy, kind of has a West Coast psychedelic kind of vibe to it. The cover art does a good job of giving you an idea of what this is going to sound like. Just like, yeah, just cool, washy, psychedelic, California, sunshiny kind of vibes to it. And this is a first pressing on sort of a deep reddish, almost a blood red kind of vinyl. They are on Sub Pop, so Sub Pop always does colored vinyl for their first pressings. So yeah, Morgan Delt, Phase Zero from 2016. If you're into psych, check it out if you haven't already. This is a good album. This one is staying in my collection. All right, next up, moving on to a bit of modern pop music. We have the first, I believe this is her first LP, Halsey's Badlands from 2015. This one has her big hit, New Americana on it. Also has Roman Holiday on it. Yeah, just a great pop album. I really like Halsey. She's done some really great stuff. Continues to put out good music, and yeah, this was a killer first album from her. It's one that's beyond the hits. It's good. It's a solid album all the way through. Great modern pop music, and like everything about this. The artwork is great, and it's gonna wash out here with kind of a little bit of a liner notes inner sleeve there. And then this is pressed on a really cool pink marbled vinyl. Very nice. Fits the rest of the artwork on the album pretty well. Pick up some of those pink tones from the cover there and stuff. So yeah, Halsey's Badlands from 2015. Great modern pop album. Definitely dug it and staying in my collection. All right, next thing I got to talk about here is Spirit. This is their album Son of Spirit from 1975. Yeah, great blues rock, psych rock kind of stuff. Spirit, it's Spirit doing what Spirit does. definitely dug hearing this. I remember this album being kind of one of those albums where the songs I really liked on here, I really liked, and then there were a couple tracks on here that were definitely duds for me. But overall, I definitely enjoyed this, and I want to keep it in the collection. I do like Spirit. So, it's Son of Spirit. And there's the LP on the Mercury label. Alright, and then there is an insert also with this. It has lyrics on it. A little bit of graphic work, fits the album art pretty well. Yeah, so that's Spirit with Son of Spirit staying in the collection. All right, and last but not least, we have the blues rock, hard rock supergroup known as Rhinoceros. I believe this is their second album, known as Satin Chickens. This was 1970 or somewhere around there. Yeah, this one definitely gets a lot more soulful than their first album. Their first album was very hard and heavy, hard rock sort of bass. This one has sort of a soul, more of a soul feel to it. But yeah, I enjoyed this again. I'm a fan of Rhinoceros. I know they got kind of mixed reviews when they came out. But yeah, I dig this group, and it was nice to hear this release from them. I think there's only maybe one more album that they did. I know the project didn't last too long. Just a generic Elektra sleeve, and then there's the red and white Elektra label. So yeah, Rhinoceros Satin Chickens going to be staying in the collection, and that's going to do it for this episode. A pretty good episode. Only a couple didn't make it this time. So I thank you for watching. Please give me a thumbs up. Leave me any comments you have down in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you aren't already, and you'll be kept up to date with future releases here on the channel. I think you'll enjoy it. Have a great day, a great night. Remember, there is no bad music, only music you don't like. See you again real soon. Cheers.